What's up, ladies and germs? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the One Deeper podcast. Today, I have Giulio Tosato. Maybe I didn't say it the very Italian way. I have no idea. But Giulio Tosato. And he wanted me to write a very nice introduction for him. I thought about it. And Giulio, I think you've been feeding off your own hype enough as it is, so I'm not going to do that for you, buddy. All I'm going to say is that Giulio is a friend of mine, I want to say a dear friend of mine, but I'm afraid to say this because he in many dimensions he's the antithesis of me, and it annoys me to no end that he still nonetheless manages to achieve results. And this is the truth, this is the truth of life. There's more than one path to take, and not everyone has the same reward function. That being said, in this episode we talk about a very particular type of neural network and a very particular type of architecture and something that Giulio has been obsessed with for the past many months. And he's been invited to talk about this idea at a conference in Canada, which he's currently at while I'm recording this. So we talk about this, we talk about life, we talk about AI. Giulio and I regularly talk about stuff like this, and it's always a pleasure to talk to him. It's a bit frustrating sometimes to talk to Giulio, I have to admit. I'm sorry, buddy, because he likes to he is the how do I say it, the epitome of the joker card in a deck, and I mean that with all the love of my heart, in my heart. And I mean that like he's mischievous, but he's very, very intelligent, very curious, and he loves to get shit done. And he's been working on some very interesting things, from trying to help democracy by building chatbots that will help you vote, to the new ways of combining the human brain with artificial neurons, coming up with new ways to classify EEG signals, winning hackathons, helping people learn deep learning, helping people learn how to use GPUs. He's got his hands in everything, and he's impressive by any stretch of the imagination. So it's always a pleasure to talk to him. So please enjoy this episode. I hope you learned something, and thanks for tuning in, and catch you on the next one. Testing.
Does it work?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, all good.
Okay. Let's go.
All right. So, I have to say, I read your paper for the first time this morning.
My paper.
The
diffusion
model paper. I have some questions. Okay. I have this paper. Bro, what is this paper? It's good. I mean, it's fun. Okay, I have some questions, but let's get to that later. Okay. I have to say, like, I have been feeling envious of you.
But after reading this paper, not anymore.
But after reading this paper, not anymore. No, it's like, because like it's like it's good to like especially when you feel this way about your friends, right? You should talk to them about it. Like, it's not good to keep this shit inside. So like whenever even though I'm cognitively, logically, I know I'm doing something different, right? I'm doing it we're playing two different games at this point, right? But the fucking mind, the machine in my mind that keeps track of these little reward functions, right? It's like, hey man, why aren't you also fucking going to Canada? I'm like, dude, relax. Like, why is this such a big deal? But I gotta keep it real. So I'm telling you how it is.
Like, the thing is, different games, bro. Different games. I'm also looking at other people. I'm like, damn, how the fuck they're. But sometimes it's exclusive. is exclusive or either you're this or you're something else. So
I
yeah,
agree.
like, but I understand. I'm also sometimes watching my friend. I'm like, fuck, these guys are better in this and this and this. You know, like.
Also, I also like you realize that when you go to this place now,
Mhm.
there are gonna be actual scientists there.
Yeah, but I'm not going with this paper, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
You like, I want to talk about the spiky stuff also.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we'll talk about this
Yeah,
EG thing later. But I want to know about like, so you're going to Canada to this conference.
Yeah, so
What's the deal?
So the deal is that my brother told me about this conference, and he told me 4 times to apply, till finally I fucking applied for it. And I made a mess in the application. You know, like I applied for a grant without being registered, and at the end, like registering the queue. At the end, basically, I was really losing all the hopes to be being accepted. But I received this my email Saturday evening. I was like, yo, for professor double blind review your paper, and
So what did you submit there?
and like abstract. It's like
For the spiky stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
spiky stuff.
okay.
They're like,
And this is about you working with Marine.
yeah, exactly.
So why isn't the university paying for you to go?
Because so there is this policy at the university where if you're a student and not a PhD student, they will only pay the conference, but not the cost to go there and return back.
That's bullshit, bro. What the fuck?
So I'm paying $800 to go there and for them back.
You should ask Marine to pitch in and help you pay for it.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. You know, if you think about it, I'm just investing them.
Yeah, of course.
It's just like,
Yo,
it's the best way to...
Listen, Giulio.
Yeah.
I've been quite annoyed with you because you're getting all this money, right? And you're spending it on the dumbest fucking shit, right? You told me you're gonna buy a bunch of fucking airsoft guns, and I was like, bro, you know how mad? Part of me is like, okay, there, like, when I think of you, a part of me is like, wants to treat you like an older brother, right? Like a younger brother, right? And like say, yo, fucking, what are you doing? Like, this is fucking stupid, right? But then part of me is like, yo, you already have an older brother. You don't need another fucking older brother. Just leave him alone. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants, right? It's his money. But of all the things you've told me that you're going to spend your fucking money on, this is 100% the best investment.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah,
Okay?
definitely.
For sure, definitely go. It's going to be like, you're going to meet so many people.
But you need to think, like, for me, buying stuff is like, so when you don't have social media, okay, and your YouTube, when you open it, is like either Ukraine war or, you know, like quantum physics.
Why is it
stuff
showing
like
you Ukraine war shit? You watch it. You're really into. You're really concerned. Like, you really think about this a lot, I think.
Yeah, but there's also like the strategy behind. Like, it's really like, you know, like it's interesting.
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
It's anthropology, sociology,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know, a lot of.
Okay. Tell me about this. For people who have no fucking idea.
Okay.
Right. Give us like a too long didn't read. Okay. What did you tell these people when you applied? So what is the idea, first of all?
So the idea is that first you need to find these conferences.
Mhm.
Okay. Once that you found one, there are mailing lists and stuff like that. You can check daily. They will ask you, give me an abstract of your paper, okay? Because usually you need to present a poster if you want to be accepted to these conferences, because obviously they don't want dumb people there. So they want people that are actually aligned.
Smart people like you.
Yeah, you know,
Fuck off, bro.
not smart, but you know, at least they know what's going on in that conference. You know, because they're a conference of complex system, Internet of Things, and stuff like that. So you need to be one of the guys. To keep the party going, as Andre would say. So first, you need to have a kind of idea of a project. So an abstract or paper is really important. Sometimes they require only an abstract. Sometimes they require a full paper. And CV, and that's it. They don't ask you if you're bachelor student, is even sexier. Because, you know, like now with all this stuff, like that there is, they want gender equality, equal portion of gender and differentiate as much as PhD, master, bachelor, and high school student, you know. So if you are if you say that you're a bachelor student and you're fucking good, you're becoming even sexier. So yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, so what's the idea? Explain to us the idea here.
So the idea, that brought me at this conference is based on surprise. Okay, so you can think about when you have something like a metronome. You know what a metronome is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's basically you can set a rhythm,
Yeah, it goes like
and it will
tick,
be like
tick,
this:
tick,
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 tack,
yeah,
tick,
yeah,
tack.
yeah.
Okay, so if you think about it, it's the most boring thing ever. Okay, most boring thing ever. Sometimes when I'm running, I have the metronome, and I'm just like trying to breathe each 3 tick and on the tack. Like it's really good for like boring thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, opposite of the metronome is pure chaos. Okay, and chaos completely, like unpredictable shit. And in the middle you have music, because it's predictable enough to be interesting, but at the same time unpredictable enough not to be boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like you know, like in the
yeah,
song you're like
understand,
you see that there is an underlying pattern that you can get it, but there is also something new.
Yeah.
So there is this theory of Carl Friston that says that basically biological system, they want to minimize surprise. So they want to, in other way, in the life of every day, you want to build a model of the world, of the outside world. Because if you know, like when you were a child, you had to understand that if you were putting something on the table, like the phone in the table was not just melting down the table. You know, like if there is a surface cannot, you know, like interpolate each other. Like you cannot pass through a surface. And basically what the free energy principle says, of my interpretation of it, is that when you are not matching the model of the world, the outside world, so there is an error, you have plasticity in the brain. Okay, so basically plasticity is a way in which you are trying to make the model, like to match the model of the world. Okay, so if you think about the brain, it has to
yeah, I mean, we have a lot of evidence that the brain is this sort of prediction making machine, right? Like that, it tries very it tries very hard to be able to predict what to expect in the world.
Yeah. And if you think, it also need to function with 30 watts or something like that. So you really need to be super efficient. Okay, and in order to be so efficient, what they need to do is to change connection, because changing connection require also energies. Just when when you need it, you do it. Otherwise, you don't do it, and you try to minimize the amount of way in which you change the connection. Also for survival property, like if you have a good model of the world, you know, like you just survive. So yeah, that's it. And there was these guys from a company in Australia that they showed that they were able to train neurons in vitro to play the game of Pong, and these neurons basically were, if they were doing something good, they were receiving, apart from the input of the game, also a really something that is really predictable, a really predictable stimulus, like sinusoidal current. Okay, otherwise they were receiving something really unpredictable. So we use the same principle on a spiky neural network.
So the neurons adjusted their behavior because so intrinsically they found the. So wait a second. The neurons intrinsically found the predictable signal more rewarding.
Yeah. So they were striving for having the predictable signal, and they were going away from the unpredictable signal.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy, because like you have a bunch of neurons in a dish. They don't know anything about the world, and you're able to make them playing the game of Pong.
Just by giving them the reinforcement is like, if they make a wrong move, they get noise. If they make the desired move, they get like a sinusoid predictable signal. The fact that they can disambiguate between, I mean, that's crazy. The fact that the neurons can disambiguate such a basic like signal, like, I mean, maybe it's not amazing to people who understand what the brain actually does, but to me it's pretty amazing that like just giving it something like a sine wave, it's able to interpret that as, oh, this is a regular thing that changes I can predict the change in behavior.
So can I went deep in this project. I was doing it with Marijn and Hunor, Hunor from psychology department. So we went deep, and at a certain point, so you need to think with this neuron that they, at least the spiking neuron, they're working with this rule called short-term dependent plasticity, which is when you are, let's think that we are in a class, middle school class. And, there is a course, professor is speaking, professor is doing something on the blackboard, and you have some people behind you. And they start punching you, on the back.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And at a certain point, you receive 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punch. And, you start to get fucking angry, okay? At a certain point, for some kind of reason, unexplainable of the universe, you punch the person in front of you, okay? Because you're like, yo, it's not possible. Like, people are punching me back. I need to punch someone to relieve the stress. And after that you punched that person, there is someone that is punching you, okay? Now that's the situation. Professor arrives and say, what the hell has happened? Who is the fault of? Okay, you need to assign the fault. And the professor is interested in the fault because, you have punched someone, and she want to know why you punched someone. So the thing is, the person that punched you after that you punched has no fault, okay? Because he was not like.
So wait, so people are are we imagining people just sitting in rows in front of each other?
Exactly.
And then someone from the back hits someone in the front.
Exactly.
Then the next person hits the next person,
exactly.
the next person, the next person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
and then the professor comes into the front and is like,
yo,
who punched you?
Who punched you?
Yeah.
That you punched the one in front of you.
Yeah.
What was the cause? So if someone punched you right after that you punched, then there is no causation, okay? Because you're interested in why have you give that punch.
Wait, but what? So if
you are punching someone, it's because you are charging off anger.
Yeah. So someone. So in this situation, I'm sitting in front. I'm sitting in front.
Yeah.
Right. And then someone's punching me in the back. And then after a point, I'm like, fuck this, and I punch the person in front of me.
Exactly.
Okay. And the professor's asking me, why did you punch the person in front of me?
Exactly. So you need to give the fault.
Yeah, you say the guy behind me punched me.
Yeah, but there are 4 guys. So you need to say 1, 2, 3 punched me. Yeah. So I punched that person. Yeah. And also the 4th guy punched you.
Yeah.
But he punched you after that you punch. Okay? So there is no causation.
Okay.
You got? So it's the same with neurons. So if you have neurons that spike before you are spiking, okay, then they are helping you in spiking. There is causation.
Right, okay.
But if someone is spiking just after you have spiked, then there is no causation. Okay? So you have this 1/x function, okay? That is if...
so I mean
Wait.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So if a neuron spike just before you are spiking, a neuron behind you spike to you just before you're spiking, you're strengthening that connection.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the less millisecond there are between these two things, you spiking and someone before you spiking, the more you're increasing, okay? The more you're increasing this connection exponentially. It's like this. Mm-hmm. But if someone...
Wait. So, okay, see, let me see if I have this correct, okay? Forget about this punching analogy. It's harder for me to understand. Okay, so you have 1 neuron, okay? And then behind it there are 3 neurons.
Yeah.
Okay? And they have connections from this one. These 3 neurons are connected to this 1 neuron.
Yeah.
Okay. And these 3 neurons behind it can send it signals.
Yeah.
Through its dendrites to the other neuron. Okay. To the axon through the other neuron.
Yeah.
Okay. And if these 3 neurons fire right before, so if the 3 neurons behind fire right before the 1 neuron, you're assigning causality because to that neuron fired because these 3 neurons fired.
And you're strengthening it.
Okay. But are there other neurons connected to this neuron also?
Let's say that there are other 2 neurons connected.
Okay. And they fired at different times.
They're firing later.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Once that these.
All right. So by just by your definition, you're saying, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to strengthen if whenever a neuron fires before this neuron, I'm going to strengthen it.
Yeah, and the less time there is between these two firing things, the more I'm strengthening it. Okay. So it's like exponential. And after you have a reverse exponential. Okay, like it's like logarithm. It's like exponential till time 0 when the neuron is spiking, and after you have a reverse exponential. Is not a logarithm, but is 1 over x.
1 over x. 1 over x.
So it's basically if someone is spiking, if a neuron behind you is spiking just after that you have spiked, then you are really saying there is no causation. So you are trying to diminish the connection between these two neurons. Okay. So this is the.
So you're trying to teach each neuron
causality.
Who caused me to fire?
It's causality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so
basically
who caused me to fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's causality in the brain, and the interesting thing is that when you're giving a really unpredictable stimulus, this goes to influence this connection, because like some neurons will start firing after others and before others. Like it's like an earthquake, okay? Because it's like, I was used to you to fire before me, but now there is an unpredictable stimulus, so you're firing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're giving unpredictable stimulus, it's like the neurons before me are firing where neuron C was supposed to fire. So I'm just this connection. I'm strengthening it and I'm weakening the other. Plasticity.
Yes. Okay. So let me see if I understand this right. So we've defined causality, right? Basically, we're saying we are teaching neuron D that AB. So neuron D is connected to neuron X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Okay. And K.
Yeah.
Okay. We have taught it that if X and Y fires before you fire, they caused you to fire.
Yeah.
And not the other two. So you strengthen the connection.
Yeah.
And the smaller the time gap between...
The more you strengthen.
The smaller the time gap between the previous firing and your firing, the more you link them as causally related.
Exactly.
Okay. And then when you give a random noise stimulus, all of a sudden the neurons that it expected to fire don't fire, and some other two neurons fire.
Yeah.
And therefore just the same learning rule. You're like, well, okay, these guys are firing now and these guys are firing later, so you want to change that weight and I'm going to update this weight.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's the thing for a lot of neurons.
Yeah.
And
so that's like a model of that's like how the actual neurons work in the brain, or what's
no, this is how our spiking neural network neurons works. This is also how neuron, I think, in the brain works, but
okay, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure, but obviously it's much more complex stuff. But so this is a form of Hebbian learning. So fire together, wire together, and
so just for everyone who's listening, Hebbian learning is a theory that synaptic connections between neurons that fire together more often are strengthened. So that's generally the idea here. Yeah.
So that's
okay. So how does you are implementing this exact same thing in an artificial neural network?
Spiking neural network. So the interesting thing about this spiking,
meaning ANN meaning like it's a computational model.
Yeah. Think about this. What we are doing is we are trying to replicate what this company called Cortical Labs in Australia did in biological neuron with this methodology. We want to see if this methodology is also functioning in spiking neurons. And
can you just I'm not familiar with spiking neural networks at all. Yeah. What's the deal?
So spiking neural networks, you have
how do they differ from like traditional stuff?
So traditional network, they function with gradient descent. Okay, so you're just throwing an image or whatever, and this image goes through the network. Weights are you have your weights. At the end you have a bunch of a classification or a feature vector. You have some number, and after you compute an error on what it should be and what it should not be, and you propagate it back, adjusting the weights. Okay. Now, spiking neural network, on the like this methodology of training spiking neural network, there is no back propagation, but it's like a double forward pass. Okay, because you are forwarding the stimulus, and after you are giving the feedback. So how do they work? I don't know, and I think it's really beautiful because you don't need. So I'm using this library. It's called Nest, where I was able, like, you just select the neuron is like leaky and integrate fire, and I don't know how they function.
Bro, you need to figure this out.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, obviously especially before you go. I think
that could be a good
I
idea.
think maybe like on the plane, it's a long plane ride.
Yeah,
like really try to figure out what the fuck is happening in there, right? Because like people don't ask you questions. Like I just asked you, and you can't be like I don't know. It's like okay, but it's okay to a certain degree. It's okay that you don't know because you're a bachelor student, right? What the fuck do you know? What the fuck do I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Maybe you can ask people there to explain to you. Can you explain to me what the hell is happening in this? That'd be good. That'd be cool.
And after 10 minutes that they explain me how spiking neural network function, they see me presenting a poster on that.
They'd be like, I just taught this motherfucker about how this works. What's he doing up there?
No, but I think it's beautiful that you don't need to know like granularity of things. You're using them. And you can be able to use them without knowing how things are functioning if you know input-output. Yeah,
I mean, they work until they don't work anymore. They work till they break, and then when they don't, and when they're broken, then you see. This is the thing, okay? Let me explain something. So everyone knows how to use a car. Everyone knows how to drive. Let's just say most people know how to use a car. Yeah. Most people know how to drive, right? But what's happening is a lot of the complexity of what a car actually is completely hidden from them.
Yeah.
All they see, as far as they're concerned, their car is a thing that takes me from A to B. And as far as they're concerned, their car is the dashboard. Yeah. That is their car, for most people, right? But when the mechanism stops working, then all that complexity that was hidden from you, right? All of a sudden it comes out. It's like, holy shit. So all of a sudden, this thing that took me from A to B is now this whole catastrophic problem. How much is it going to cost to fix? Like, who do I need to call? Like, what's wrong with this thing? Do I need to buy a new? The thing is, the less you know about the mechanism, the bigger the possibilities of the failure multiplies. It's like, okay, your car fails, right? Yeah. Okay, do I need to buy a new car? Yeah. Like, or am I like how far back should I look at this error? Like, am I a shit driver? Am I a terrible person? Should I get a new car?
But you could. What you could do is just you could look into the problem when the problem arrives. Like, it's not just the car. Yeah, we don't know how. Like,
anything works. I don't know how this works.
Exactly, computer how it works. Your phone how it works.
No idea.
Like electrical stuff, electric stuff in your like all the circuit in your house.
I am constantly. You know, one of the most amazing engineering. Like, I mean, we're surrounded by so many engineering solutions, right? But an engineering solution that really blows my mind every day is the washing machine. Yeah. Right? Because, like, okay, think about the amount of trust we have in this machine. Okay, because when it fills up with water, it fills up with a fuck ton of water. Okay, and if you understand that the machine is not conscious, right? It knows that the door is closed because a sensor says the door is closed. Right? If the sensor malfunctions and says the door is closed and the thing's open, it'll just keep going. It has no idea.
You know what is even worse? Like the heater, like the thing that heat your water. Yeah. Like if that fail, you have gas around the house. Like,
yeah. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And we have complete trust in this.
Exactly. So when if someone says to me, "How is possible?" I'm like, "Yo, you are also doing the same in all your life, almost." So when there will be a problem, and like for example in this occasion, I'm like, okay, like, but still, till that I have still some work to do, without knowing this, I will do this work. And after you arrive at some point, you're like, okay, that's the time, But when you have a certain idea, you need to work on the idea and not on the small stuff. I think. Like,
I agree. I agree.
Like first you put the basis on all the idea, and after you're like, okay, Now let's go in.
If you have the idea just to get it to implement, to get it to work, I think that makes sense.
So the cool stuff. Okay, let's go to the really cool stuff. Is that if we like preliminary result, but they're really preliminary. Okay, they suggest that this could work, like the free energy principle in spiking neural network. But if we show that this is actually working, then we have a principle that is working on two substrates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you are giving the feedback in the input layer, and this is just propagating through the network to all the layers. Okay. So what you could do is you have your brain. I put the spike in neural network. I connect the spike in neural network to your brain, and your brain starts colonizing the spike in neural network. So it's like human augmentation.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a very cool promise. So what's holding you back from checking this works or not? Like what's what's holding you back from just
going full in?
Yeah.
So the thing is this one. This is something that
like I'm not saying that like let's forget about the biological and computational like combination.
Yeah.
Just to show the computational thing works.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
So I have done this in the summer with Hunor, who were working a lot on this, trying to figure out when there is. So we're using a code of someone else that did something without this feedback of the free energy principle, but still spiking neural network playing Pong, but with another kind of stuff, trying to understand their code. Your code is not working. Trying to understand what is not going on. Implement your idea. Like that took a lot of time. And now we're like, okay, we have all the blocks in place of code. Now probably there are some bugs and stuff like that. But I cannot bring it into my in my thesis, because what you have done in your internship, you cannot bring it in as your thesis. So I need to find something in my thesis, another project for my thesis. I have another paper that I'm like finishing to writing. So I have a lot of stuff that are going on that I need to close to dedicate to this. So now I'm like, I'm in a process of advertising it to maybe also search for people, and finishing to write also this small paper, theoretical, like this theory, and after going all in, probably my master in this thing. Yeah. So it's a long project.
Like, I'm curious though, like, why, like, surely just like getting this thing to just a very, very small network to get this reinforcement mechanism working.
It's not really hard. But there are a lot of things that so first you think is working, okay, and after 1 or 2 weeks that you think is working, you understand that it was just random, random chance.
Yeah.
What was happening?
That's why I like reinforcement learning stuff, because like I can just run it for 10 million times, and I can say, yeah, this is not random. This is actually like after 10 million games, clearly something's happening here, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, also it's something completely new. Like you don't have, we have not done any course on spiking neurons. You need to encode the stimulus as a spike. You need to record the spikes, and maybe a bunch of neurons. Like we had this problem that multiple neurons were firing at the same time in the output neurons at the same frequency. So which one do you choose? So you need to try to find some way to diversifying them. Like it's a lot of like you're really on the cutting edge. So sometimes you have questions that no one answered.
Yeah, true.
So
that's how you know you're doing something. Like so, like I'm fine. Like it's funny. Like so when I was doing my thesis, it's because GPT came out, I think that semester, right? It was funny, but like it just couldn't help me that much.
Yeah.
Because my thesis was like very niche and very weird. It honestly had no, like, every time I asked it something like a general question, it would just go off on some random tangent about social media. Or I'm like, dude, what? This is not what I'm trying to. So that's a good, actually a good metric. If GPT can't help you, then it's like you've got something new here.
Yeah. So, but I must say, like, I think it's something special. I really believe in this project, and one thing that it taught me is to take a break, because sometimes you are so in this project that you are not anymore able to see the big picture. So you're focusing on small errors, but maybe that small error you see after a while that is caused by another error, and that other error is caused by an idea, like on how you structure your framework. Okay, so you need to completely
What
change.
are some other things that people have done with spiking neural networks?
So they have implemented so there is this problem about training this spiking neural network, because you have neurons that are like neurons that are receiving spikes. So one thing that I know about these neurons that are not similar as the perceptron is that they code with spikes. So they have a current that they receive, and you have a biological time. Okay, so your simulation is running in time. So you are running your network for 200 milliseconds, for example. So you are so you have your input. You are converting into spikes, okay? And after you are running your simulation, so that this input is propagating into the network. So you have really these neurons that are, okay, spiking, okay? And after, based on how... so you have the membrane potential, and after, based on the different type of kind of neurons, you can also have much more fancy stuff. Yeah. So you have time, okay, and this neuron can have a spike. So this is how you train this thing, which is pretty interesting. Also, okay, how can you decode in the output neuron which one is the best? Because you will not have only one neuron that will spike and all the other will be silent. So you're not, it's like sometimes we were having 4 neurons that were spiking, and after then you can see, okay, what is the frequency of their spikes? Because sometimes maybe some they spikes at 6 spikes, some they spike 8, 9,
yeah, it's fun.
12.
Like, it's interesting. I like this idea because, like, more, one of the things that I've been thinking about is that. So we're in this race, in this like sort of journey to try to create something like human intelligence, right? But human intelligence is a product of chemistry and time. There's like milliseconds worth of time between when things happen in our brain, and it's interesting. And I think that so, but people there's this argument that intelligence is just a computation, right? And it shouldn't matter what the substrate is. But I'm curious to see, like, if you create something on a silicon machine, on a computer, it's probably going to be something intelligent, but it's not probably going to be something very different from human intelligence. Right?
So I think that with AI today, we are creating aliens.
Yeah.
We are not creating human beings.
Yeah, I agree.
ChatGPT is already an alien, because if you think, is there any other human being in the world that has the knowledge of ChatGPT, the broad knowledge of ChatGPT, that can understand about CrossFit, relationship, quantum physics, geography, and creating that function in Python?
Yeah.
And I think the next big wave after AI will be human-centered, because with AI we are creating aliens. At a certain point, something will go off. There will be some problems, and then people will be like realizing, damn, maybe we should augment us, because now what we are doing is just trying to make this alien more powerful, and we should also in the same time trying to make us more powerful.
Yeah.
So I think that's that will be the next big thing. So I'm just waiting for something going wrong or 2, 3, or 4 times, and people will be like, okay, human. I
think people surely are pretty on board with the whole human augmentation. I mean, like Elon is all about it. He's like, he wants to just plug this thing into our brain, right?
Yeah, Elon, I think is. Yes, I think Elon is on. I don't think there are a lot of people that understand.
Yeah, people think he's insane. Most people think that. Most people think it's a bad idea.
I don't think that people are understanding that we're building aliens. People are not understanding this. Most of the people are seeing AI is either as an instrument, or like as, like, oh, it's functioning as we are functioning. But when you understand backpropagation and all this stuff, you're like, this is not how we are functioning. So I think the only way is to take our substrate, take the good thing of our substrate. So emotion, I'm just thinking, war in Ukraine. We are basically brothers, okay? Probably my grandfather was having sex with your grandmother, okay? That was happening. And now we're making war. So we are so aligned to each other, and you're making so bad things to each other. Now imagine something that has not gone through this evolutionary process that is coming up with, like, I see intelligence as something that evolution award you to, like, you're good for the equilibrium, like, so you get some more intelligent. And at a certain point, we are creating this that is okay, is trained on human data. So, but in the other sense, there are no emotion. There are, like, it's completely, like, their underlying architecture, the macro structure is completely different. So yeah, I think that the people that are working alignment they will never be able to align it because the underlying structure is different. But it's still really important because maybe instead of extinction, we will just fuck up a city, like.
Yeah.
But I'm really like, when people are speaking, oh, AI is the future, I'm like, no. AI is not the future. AI I give other 5-7 years. And I think till, like, the big thing of AI will be when robot will be like with reinforcement learning and all this stuff. But after there, I think there will be really big problems. And you already see now, like, the first article of biological intelligence, like this cell that you're growing, these neurons that you're growing, and they're acting as they have some agency, like it was the paper that Andre showed me about the biot, how was called it?
Not sure.
Okay, whatever. But I already start seeing now that people are focusing more on let's reproduce biological intelligence and not AI. And I'm really thinking, like, 5-7 years will, like, be like, okay, slow down in AI, start with the human augmentation.
I personally don't think we're gonna. So, it's weird. Like, most people don't even want to talk about general like. Most people don't want to talk about the possibility of making a intelligent. See, there are so many confounding topics here, right? Because if you tell some people, they're like, yeah, ChatGPT is clearly an AGI, right? Like, clearly artificial general intelligence, right? But I think when most people think of an artificial intelligence that we created, that we are thinking of a conscious being with his own. I think what most
what
people
is
think
the definition
will,
of AGI, bro?
I have no fucking idea.
That's like I think some people are like, yeah, it can do everything that a human can do.
Yeah, but
so wait, so is okay? Can the AGI take a shit? Because I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, oh, okay, we also need a robot. Okay, can you have emotion? Can you have, like, nice lips as mine? Like, at a certain point, if you continue like this, AGI is a human. Yeah. Like, you will finish with a human. That's the thing. Otherwise, you can say, oh no, it can achieve the goals. Like, what? That's the same. So I think the AGI thing is it
is.
Maybe we could look at the definition
No,
online.
there's no point, because I've looked into this shit before. Like, it's like everybody has a different definition of what it is. But most people conflate AI with the ability to have its own conscious free will. Like, first of all, consciousness and free will, most people can't even agree on that, right? They're like, oh no, free, dude, so many fucking things. When most people think of what most people think of, the issue is, what most people think of when they think of a general intelligence is another human being. And when they think of other human beings, they think of people with free will. I mean, they think of humans that do what they want to do. They have intentional motivations to do things, right? And that's what they think of. When they think of a general intelligence, they think of other human beings. Yeah. And it's hard for human beings to conceive of something that's not human-like, but it's also really like it's so hard. It's so hard for us to think of
human in the loop reinforcement learning.
Yeah.
You're tricking human that thing is human.
Yeah.
Like we are training this stuff to fake that they are human.
Yeah.
That's what we are doing, but they're not.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And at a certain point, we'll have a problem. We'll have a big problem. So I'm using AI as a tool, as a cool tool, to study a brain.
Yeah, I think. Maybe personally, I think machine learning, I don't think is going to get us there.
Bro, so I was an intro to machine learning.
Yeah.
And I was like, support vector machine. I was like, what the hell? Like, how can I build AGI with a support vector machine? Okay, do I put a lot of them together and I have AGI? No. Okay, clearly this is not the path to the intelligence that we cannot define, but at the same time we understand what you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Random forest. No. This is, and after you arrive to neural network, and for a while you're like, oh, neurons. Oh, that's cool. Oh, they're making good stuff. They appear to be, and they appear to do stuff that human can do. And after a certain point, you also, at least maybe that's my personal view, but I'm like that's not the path to intelligence, to human intelligence.
Personally, I want super intelligence,
but
I want people to be because I don't want people to be as smart as other people. There are problems that I want to solve right now.
So I think two things that you could do with this technology is first exploit the good thing of your brain. Okay, so it's like emotion, consciousness, all like eating good food and all this stuff. Like feeling that you're eating good food, sleeping, all this stuff, and having a brain in the cloud, part of your brain in the cloud, which will be super fast because it will not, have a limit of like your normal brain. So you will have, I think that the future will be when you have both substrate in one. So you're not creating other entity, you're enhancing your.
We are a lot like that right now. Like you can think of books and like taking notes and like alarms on our phone. We already outsourced so many things to technology.
But this will be like the next step. Like another thing that you could do is connecting your brain with the brain of your dog. No, bro, like.
Why would you want to do that?
I would imagine all humanity connected.
But then there won't be individual human beings.
That's interesting. I think but it's like maybe you can have different kind of like level of connection. Like you can still have your you could still have your level of human singular being, but you could also understand what's happening in the network. Like if people are suffering around you, you could feel it. But also with your dog, just say your dog and you. Like you feel that your dog is hungry. Like you would feel it without watching it. You would feel it is emotion.
How do you like? I think having a lot of this stuff, having a lot of that would be unbearable to most people.
Yeah. But who cares? We will at a certain point. Like we are not done for lasting. Like, we are not done to. We are not being created to be the king of the universe.
How do you know that? I don't believe that. I think we are.
I think we're not.
I think we are. This is the thing. I think human beings are. All evidence point to the fact that human beings, there's something very special about. Very special about it. I am ready to accept that there isn't. I'm completely ready to accept that. But all evidence points to the fact that there's something very, very special about human beings.
I'm living about with this philosophy. From like nothing matters. Nothing matters. From an objective point of view. There are just subjective point of view of what matters. I don't know how to argument it, but it make a lot of sense in my mind.
It's hard to make decisions in that situation.
You could say nothing matter, perfect. Then what do I concentrate my energy in? Okay, and my point of view, which I developed some weeks ago, is that I'm a human being. So listen to this. I think it's really beautiful. This, you have a knife. Okay, it's not going dark. This situation. You have a knife. What do you do with this knife?
I don't know. Depends on.
Come on, you're at home. You have a knife. What do you do?
I don't know. Nothing more probably. Most likely, it just sits there.
Bro, no. You have a knife in your hand. What do you do? You're at home.
Nothing.
Bro, come on. What do you do with a knife usually?
If I want to cut food,
okay. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Right,
Nice.
right.
Okay, amazing. After, you have a washing machine. What do you do?
Put clothes in there to wash it.
Perfect.
Okay.
It's fucking self-explanatory, right?
What's your point?
You would not ever like cook your food inside the washing machine, right? Or like paint with your knife.
Okay.
So then you're like, okay, nothing matters. So, am I human? What am I built for? Because if you use a tool in the way that that tool is designed for, then that tool functions really well.
Okay.
So, I'm a human. Nice. What am I designed to? I'm designed to reproduce, survive, and explore. And I have these three things, and I decline it in, having a relationship, like love and all these things that we are is really like we need them, like we are built for them. Good food, okay, friend, good food, all these things, in group, out group. We are built for that. We are built for having an in group and an out group, and research, explore. That's the and I have such a beautiful life. I'm imperfect. I'm a human being. I'm at the same time a really beautiful creature and a really bad creature. If you think about humans, we are able to do good stuff, bad stuff. But I'm not anymore like thinking about fighting big causes. I'm more centered in, okay, what is being human? Like, okay, so what for example, staying in the nature, this is one thing that makes us really happy because we are built for it. Okay. Another thing is make a fire. Have you ever made a fire?
Yeah.
It makes you so happy because your fucking ancestor, if they were not having fire, they were dying. So, when they were seeing a fire, they were so fucking happy. So make a fire at a certain point. It's another thing. Build a house. You know how beautiful beautiful month you will be to build something, build a fucking house, because you were like to build a shelter, like some of your ancestors were not able and they were dying. So it's just, like only the people that were having their DNA, this.
So it's not that nothing matters, it's that you should behave in accordance of what you're built for. Like
objectively, I think nothing matters. Okay. Like I think there are no like gods that says you should act like this. I objectively, like in like for the universe, let's say reality, let's say God, like whatever you call it, a superior entity. I don't think that nothing matters for it. Okay, it's like being like, then if there is not a superior entity that says you should behave like this, like this, like this, I'm like, just behave as a human being and you will be happy.
There are a lot of counterexamples for this though.
I can tell you one.
Yeah.
Buddhist monk, they are trying to eradicate their being human. They are trying not to jerk off. They're trying not to have a partner. They are trying not to eat, not to drink, to meditate, to be in silence, to be away in a cave for 2 months, And at the end, they like this is a way, and at the end maybe they're able to transcend all this stuff and transform themselves. But I don't think that they are becoming anymore the human being, like the human being that like you're going through so much suffer to finally find peace. Okay, but I think if you accept being human and being a fucking human, I think you could have still a lot of...
No,
make me another counterexample.
Oh, I agree. Like, this is a good point. But this is not a... I don't think... Like, I think you shouldn't underestimate how hard it is to come to such a conclusion. Like, if you start from the position that nothing matters, for most people, they don't end up in the conclusion where you started.
Yeah,
that's a very different. Your conclusion is partly driven by your innate personality, your drive, and your extroversion. You're a very extroverted person. You're like motivated. You're driven. You have all these different things, right? Like, I was a person who was suffering quite tragically with that mindset. Like, I couldn't, for some reason I didn't, my local minimum was not where you are. It was at, okay, nothing matters, who gives a fuck? Let's fucking destroy everything. Destroy myself, destroy my family, destroy everything. It doesn't matter. If nothing matters, then what the fuck am I doing here?
I think it's really dangerous when you understand that nothing matters. In the sense of, there was a philosopher, Nietzsche.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, nothing mattered after he went crazy. When he said nothing mattered. But I think that being there, okay, nothing mattered. Like, try to find the best. If nothing mattered, trying to find the best of the thing.
That's true. Yeah. Like, so I came to a weird place. It's like, if nothing matters, so for me, when nothing matters, right? So when like, this is pretty morbid. But not morbid, but like I used to think a lot about like just suicide in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not as like I want to kill myself, but as like a solution to a problem. Like if you're in a situation where you absolutely don't want to be and you fucking hate it, like not being there, just exiting yourself. If you don't believe in an afterlife or hell, then it comes up as an option. It's like, okay, yeah, this is an option that I can take, right? But like. Weirdly, it's like now I'm in a situation where it's like either I do what I want to do, or I'm like, dude, I'd rather be dead than do this, right? You know what I mean? So it's like this, like, no, fuck this. I don't want to work here. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to go to this job. I do what I do something that's like intrinsically motivating for me to like go and do these things, and then I do them. But like, I really resonate with your idea of just recognizing your
dumbness.
And like what you're built for, and then like trying to align yourself in those things. But yeah, that I agree with. I think a lot of people they identify themselves too much with the cortical decision making part of their brain. Like the whole like the very reasoning being, and they forget a lot about like that they're in this flesh body that needs flesh things to happen.
And I think you really understand stuff. For example, you understand stuff for which you're not built for.
Mm-hmm.
You're not built for social media. You're not built for that.
Yeah.
You're not built for TikTok.
Yeah.
You are going to have a really sad life. And each time I see a really strong correlation between people that have that are spending time on these, and they're not at the end, oh, I'm so happy.
It's always like, fuck, where the fuck did the last 3 hours go?
Oh no, my God, another time I feel fucking used. So, like, you're really like, okay, I'm not built for that. You need to understand, like, I'm not built for cocaine. I'm not built for opioids. Then I don't do that. What I'm built for? So
this is a good point. I think this is a very good point.
Each time I'm like, chips. I'm not built for this. And after you find sometimes equilibrium. For example, my equilibrium is like, you have chips just when you are in a party, and then partying like once per month or once each 2 months. Then it's okay, like. So
yeah, I agree.
So one other thing that I really love is sometimes, you know how I end discussion? I'm like, it's like this. I say something, you know, and the person is like, no, it's like this. I'm like, okay, it's like this. And the person is like, what the?
That can get kind of like, because people expect you to defend your position, right?
Yeah.
But people are not used to this idea that like you can have, for example, I have strong opinions.
Yeah.
Purely based on evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if someone is like, show me something else, I'm like, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Like most people, that's insane.
Yeah.
For most people, that's an insane way to live. Because like they're so, they're hugging on to the ideas for dear life. They're like, oh my god, if I let this fucking go, what does it say about me, right? Elias was showing me this app called Speechify, right? That'll read everything for you. Part of me is like, oh fuck, is this like, what if? Part of me is thinking, oh shit, could I be better if I use this app? And part of me, and there's a part of me that wants to defend my current state of what I believe by saying, no, there are probably downsides to this, probably this thing, right? But most likely it's probably good, and it works for him, right?
Yeah,
but people don't like that idea. People are they are defined by their beliefs and ideas, right?
You know what I see? Another thing is like, if you're exposed to people, your also dark side out thing. Like if you're just an open book, people will start trusting you, even if you're a really fucking weird human being. True. Because they're like, this guy has no fucking secret. Like this guy, whatever is happening in his mind, you know, it's just there. And you know, at the end, you're not so weird because they know by themselves that sometimes they're much fucking more weird than what you are.
Yeah, but dude, but the thing is, I think that's not all you do. The environment we are in and like the environment we grown up in, you're gonna have a very different experience. The part of the reason I'm here is because I can't be that weird person back home. Yeah, I'm not like, the environment doesn't foster or support strangeness.
You know, Tilbury, I was able to arrive like here just because I had so much free time. Like Tilbury was the perfect thing. Like, I think that this program it was amazing for me because the amount of study load required to have good grades, or was me that, you know, I was always all inside this stuff, but it was not a lot. So I had so much time to expand in what were my interests. And I think that university should be like this, you know, like should be like you have a question, like, you know, like it should be your passion when you go to uni. But at the same time, I understand that like one thing that I would change is for normal student, they should because they're asking stuff for 60 CTS, but I think that they are having grading, like asking you during the exam in 20% of the stuff that they are saying you to study. Okay. Yeah. That's one thing about.
That's a whole other conversation. I'm on the program committee, so this is nice to talk about. We have to wrap this up because I've got to go.
Where do you have to go?
Gotta go, bro. Gotta go eat some food. All right.
Being human. Remember.
Human. So thanks for joining me today. Always, you know, like Envy brought something good in the situation. It's like I was jealous of this guy. I was thinking, man, what the fuck does this guy know? Honestly, right? Like you said, if you're like because a lot of the things you do are very different from things I do, and I'm thinking, okay, well, does that mean that what I'm doing is wrong, or like does that mean I should do something different? And that's always driving me to, like, you know, you motivate me, but also like I have to listen to my mind and like, yo, listen, this is just relax. Like this is not a competition right now.
You can like when your weight are initializing in some other structure and your brain is different than my brain, you cannot you cannot incorporate everything of that person. Be around that person, but you will find a new equilibrium. Yeah. But, you know, like there are some way that you're functioning that I'm not able to function. Yeah. I'm not able to be as much focused and productive and doing Pomodoro as you. You know, like that's just not me.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But
yeah. All right. Thanks, Giulio. We'll do this again soon, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck in Canada, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. This has been a One Deeper podcast. Thanks for joining, and I hope you learned something. Catch you again next time.